Thanks for listening to Bigfoot Society. I'm Jeremiah Byron. Today, you're going to hear a lot of accounts from all over the U.S., from people from really one side to the other. This is a collection of impromptu call-in encounters from the TikTok live platform. If you've never heard a collection like this, you're in for a treat. Now, these are raw encounters you won't want to miss, so stay with us.
Hey, Ethan, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Are you coming up to share a Bigfoot experience you've had?
I can share a couple different experiences.
Oh,
What do
awesome.
you
Before we get started, am I okay with using this audio for my Bigfoot podcast potentially?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So go ahead.
So before we get into it, for dialogue's sake, what do you think about people in suburban areas who've had encounters? I mean, like densely populated areas.
Super good question. I think it can be legit, and here's why. Because a lot of cities their borders are moving out. So you have this a lot with Northwest Portland and also Southwest Portland. As it grows more into the wooded areas, you're having more encounters around areas like that. Also, a lot of the bigger cities, like let's say this is in Kansas City and Omaha, have really large green spaces that go through the middle of the city, and you can sometimes find some pretty interesting encounters happening in those areas too.
Yeah. Now, when you say Portland, are you talking about Portland,
Oregon.
Oregon? All right. I'm from Massachusetts. I'm talking
Oh, cool.
I'm talking like 5 miles north of Boston.
Okay. Gotcha.
Like really densely populated areas, and there's sporadic little areas that are like wooded state forests, and some hiking trails in different areas. But what I seen blew my mind. It was about a month ago, and I had an encounter that wasn't really my encounter, but I was part of it. That happened prior to that. And I go to a mountain north of Boston to pray. And I go up there and I spend some time up there praying. And as I was walking down the mountain, normally when I walk down the mountain at the base, at the opening, where you can drive up to a little parking area and then walk up the rest of the way, there's a guy who has two, trying to think, big white dogs. What are they? Great Pyrenees.
Yep.
And they're usually barking and going crazy, And sorry, dealing with something right now. They're usually barking and going crazy, but this night the dogs weren't making any noise. The lights in his yard were off, and as I'm walking down the mountain, I kind of get like a eerie feeling a little bit. Now at the corner of his house, the street lights shining across the street where it hits the corner of his house. You know how where shadow begins, there's that, you can't see into it because of any refracting light around you.
Sure.
Okay, so the corner of this guy's house, as I'm walking, I hear something jump over his fence that usually keeps his dogs at bay. It's a chain link fence. And have you ever heard someone jump over a chain link fence? You can hear them hit the ground, that thud when their feet hit the ground. Whatever this thing was, it was huge. So I keep my eyes on this guy's driveway as I'm walking down. As I'm starting to walk up, because you got to walk down the street and then up the street to where I parked, something turned its face around the corner, and I could see it staring at me. And the guy had like those little, I'd say like, they're like little pine trees, that people have in their front yards. They're about 6 feet high, conical, and it was about a foot over those trees. So I'm guesstimating it at about 7 feet. And as I walked backwards to my car, I literally watched this thing turn its face to watch me walk up the hill backwards. I opened my car, got my car, started my car, and left. If I were to give a description of what it looked like, do you remember the Ewoks from the Ewok movie in Star Wars?
Oh, yeah.
It looked just like that, except it wasn't cute and small. It was big, and the eyes weren't like proportionate size. They were beady. I could make out a nose. I could make out a mouth, and that was my experience.
Absolutely incredible. I don't hear many Massachusetts reports, but I do have a question for you. And you,
Yes, sir.
just because I'm curious, because I have gotten another report from a mountain. Um, I guess it wouldn't be 5 miles north of Boston, but um, um, are you keeping the location under wraps?
Um, I don't know if I should or not. You know, uh, it's Waitt's Mount, Waitt apostrophe S, in Malden, Massachusetts.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's like really, that is really close.
it's
Wow.
totally suburban. Yeah, and this thing, I mean, I could go live right now and show you because I'm actually walking up the mountain.
It's called Waits Mountain.
Yeah, dude, there's a
Got it.
wild story to it. The whole reason I'm going up to this mountain, like, I don't know what your take is on faith and higher powers and whatnot, but I have great faith, and I'd say it's gotten to the point in my life where I would say like it's no longer a faith, more or less. I know that there is a creator and a great being. Like I've seen things in my life that are just there's
Mm.
no other way to explain it.
Oh wow.
Like I was a state correctional officer for 10 years for the
Sure.
state of Massachusetts in the Department of Corrections, right? So a correctional officer is a watchman or a guard. And I did a radio program in 2017 while I was working for the state. It was called Strange Days Unto Victory on 590 AM out of Quincy, Mass. And in that time, he was basically, whether you believe or not, but the Holy Spirit was putting it on my heart to warn people that judgment would be coming. So as I would talk about things on the radio program, just a couple months after, they would start happening. So I come up to this mountain, and this was after a great miracle. Like my daughters were supposed to die in the womb, and basically I came up here and prayed and begged and asked, and he told me how to cure an incurable disease. And my daughters were born at 316 and 317,
Mm.
at 16.3 inches, 17.3 inches. And my second daughter Sonny was supposed to perish, but I watched a baby in the womb go from 3.5 inches to 16.3 inches in 5 days. So at that point, I'm just like, all right, I absolutely believe, you know. So he says, come to this mountain, blow your shofar, and warn people that the judgment, the time has come. So I do it. I start doing it for a couple months, and I say, why this mountain? And what I get in the spirit is words mean things. So the name Waitt, Waitt apostrophe S, it translates as the watchman or the guard. So you have a watchman or a guard going to a place called the Watchman or the Guard's Mount, blowing a shofar and warning people that the time of judgment has come. So that being said, I do believe in these creatures and these beings 150%. I have a biblical view on them. I believe that they are a remnant of Genesis 6. When the sons of God seen that the daughters of men were beautiful, I believe that these are a remnant of the Nephilim. And I only believe that because of Dr. Ketchum's findings, even though some people say those were debunked. But then you have guys like David Paulides, and you have the recording that he received that was studied by a naval linguist, and he said
Right.
that
Right.
is in fact a language. I mean, they're speaking, you know. So
It is absolutely incredible. I do have another question for you. So you had the sighting of the one that looked kind of like the Ewok, but it was taller.
yeah,
Um, how had you blown the shofar right before that, or what was? How far before that sighting had you last blown the shofar?
That was after the sighting. That was sorry, that was after I blow the shofar. And I came down and I was like, I felt it, you know? I'm actually looking at the house right now. Here's the wild part. This guy doesn't let his dogs out in the backyard anymore, and he cut those bushes down. They're all gone. I'm looking at the house right now. They're all gone. It was wild. My buddy, I won't give you his exact address, but my buddy lives in Tamworth, New Hampshire, which is in the Waitt Mountains.
Right.
This is going back. This is 2021. I'm driving to go visit him because I like to hang out up there. It's beautiful, you know, the Waitt Mountains. And that, dude, you want to hear something wild? That night, I'm just going to start walking up the mountain.
Okay.
That night.
Oh, you're walking up the mountain right now.
Right now, yeah.
Oh, man.
So here's something wild, right? So usually I come up here on this mountain and I walk up and I give thanks, and then I get to the top and I give praise, and then I go to the top of the mountain and I pray for the things I need and whatnot. So as I was coming down, I seen that. 2021, I drove to Tamworth, New Hampshire, and there were these two girls. I was with a friend of mine, and she was female. She was an officer for the DOC as well. And there were two girls that broke down on the side of the highway. So I was like, you know what, I'll give them a ride. It's kind of on the way. If I hadn't done that, I would have been at my brother. I call him my brother. I would have been at his property. He said that he called me. He was speaking complete gibberish. His wife and kid is screaming, right? He's got another one, a Great Pyrenees, a big white Great Pyrenees dog. But her name's Jen. She lives outside all year round. She never comes in. So I'm about 15 minutes from his house driving a GT 350 Shelby Mustang. And he calls me and starts telling me, like, it's here, it's in my yard, it's in my yard. I get no clue what he's talking about, right? About 6 months before that, I was walking through his woods and I seen a giant footprint. I mean, like 16 inches long. I was walking back there with his nephew about a mile back in Tamworth. I was walking back to the pond. You'll see it on maps if you want. Me and his nephew seen this footprint. I was following this deer. I was like, wow, this deer is moving. Look at these footprints. There was like 12 feet between them, the hoof marks. And then we seen this giant footprint. So the deer, it looked like the deer hooked left. And this footprint, like it stepped off to go hard left. I went back. I said, buddy, you got something on your property you should watch out for. Like I said, 6 months later, I go up there and he has the encounter. He comes out and he puts a 300 Blackout, which is a 308 semi-automatic on like a AR style platform, in my arms, and we go walking, looking through the woods for this thing. There are things out there. They don't want us to know that they're real, because if we ever came to learn that they were real, we'd question the narrative of everything. You know? What I seen in Walpole, Mass, which is funny because it's in the opposite 40 miles from here, from Boston, north of Boston, it's the South Shore. What I seen, brother, was bigger than my Nissan, and everything in my spirit said, run! And I drove my little Nissan as fast as I could. I almost hit it with my car. Yeah. So this mountain was always a place of addicts, right? Just a little backstory on what you're about to see up here. And it was a place where people came to drink alcohol and do drugs. And since I've been coming up here praying, right? Churches, all sorts of different churches are starting to come up here now.
Really?
I don't know what language.
Is that what's in the background?
Yep.
No way.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise
Wow.
Yahweh.
Holy mackerel.
Shalom. Abba. So you got the watchman on the watchman's mountain blowing a shofar, warning people of judgment, and these churches start showing up, dude. And I don't know what to do about all that except keep coming to the mountain.
This is absolutely incredible. Do you know this?
Do you have Google?
Yes.
Do you have Google?
Yeah.
I want you to Google Ezekiel 33 and read it out loud. It's like paragraph and a half. Please do it. God bless you guys.
Yeah, you too, man.
God bless you.
Bless you.
Be well. Hope you're
The
well.
word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, speak to your people and say to them, when I bring the sword against the land and the people of the land, choose one of their men and make them their watchmen. And he sees the sword coming against the land and blows the trumpet to warn the people. Then if anyone hears the trumpet but does not heed the warning, and the sword comes and takes their life, their blood will be on their own head, since they heard the sound of the trumpet but did not heed the warning. Their blood will be on their own head. If they heeded the warning, they would have saved themselves. But the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet to warn the people, and the sword comes and takes someone's life. That person's life will be taken because of their sin, but I will hold the watchmen accountable for their blood. Son of man, I've made you a watchman for the people of Israel, so hear the word I speak and give them warning from me. When I say to the wicked, you wicked person, you will surely die, and you do not speak out to dissuade them from their ways, that wicked person will die for their sin, and I will hold you accountable for their blood. But if you do warn the wicked person to turn from their ways, and they do not do so, they will die for their sin, though you yourself will be saved.
So that being said, right, I was chosen by civil service, which means I was chosen by the people of the state of Massachusetts. You want to hear the kicker? You want to hear the kicker of this whole story? My grandfather was Samuel Hadley and Isaac Hadley. Samuel died in the Battle of Lexington and Concord. My grandfather Isaac survived. There's a good chance. It's a good chance it was one of my fathers who fired the shot heard around the world. Now here's the wild part. 2017, when I was doing the radio program, I come down to the face of the mountain because there's a lot of people up here, just other people who aren't in the church. I joke with my dad that there's a good chance it was one of us who fired the shot heard around the world. Now, 2017, I did the radio program. While I was doing the radio program, I had a dream. In the dream, we were fighting foreign soldiers here in the Northeast. I began to tell my dream amongst 5 other officers in what was then called the SMU, Special Management Unit at MCI Norfolk, which is 2 Clark Street, Norfolk, Massachusetts. As I told my dream, halfway through my dream, my partner, who now works for the investigations team, we'll call him Bobby, has the same dream on the same night. And he finishes my dream. I say, Bobby, I don't know why, but he keeps telling me April 19th, April 19th. Now, it wasn't until November that I realized that I started coming up to this mountain to blow the shofar 7 years after the radio program. So, April 19th, 7 years later, April 19th is also the anniversary of the shot heard round the world, which could have been my father, my grandfather, 10 generations back, but it was Bobby's wife's birthday. He said, that's my wife's birthday. I say, wow, that's crazy.
Do you know the significance of the shofar in the Bigfoot community?
No.
Okay, I'm going to blow your mind with this, all right, at the end here. So there are individuals that actually have used the shofar in the past. They do a certain note, and when they do that note on a shofar, it actually brings the Bigfoot in. So
That's
in
wild.
essence, that's what you did.
That's wild. You know,
Blows
if you
your
go
mind.
back, if you go back through my videos, I have videos where I tell the stars to go out and shine no more, and they start moving. I got one video, it's maybe like 5 videos back, it just appears. The star just appears in the sky and begins to move. And I blow the shofar and it starts to shine like the sun. And then I tell it to go out in the name of Yehoshua, which is who we call Jesus. And sure as anything, it went out. I have multiple videos of that.
Incredible. I'm gonna check that out. Sure. Thank you so much for coming up and for sharing what's on your heart. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. Bless you. Bless you.
Bless you.
Amen.
I don't I don't even know. That was incredible. Um, that was incredible. Um, all right, let's move on. We'll try Kyler here. Hey, Kyler, how are you?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me good?
Uh, I can hear you great. If you're coming up
Awesome.
to share a Bigfoot encounter, do you mind if I potentially use this audio for my Bigfoot podcast?
I do not. I
All
do not
right,
mind
all
at all.
right.
My family and my in-laws and even my father-in-law that passed away in 2017 was a big believer. So I have had some experiences out where I live. Where I live is out here in Forsyth, Texas, and it's a bunch of wilderness and everything. Well, in the middle of the nights, I've had a lot of mimic whistles. I will sit here and whistle around of a fire, and something will whistle the same tone right back at
Ooh.
me. And my wife and my kids did not believe me. Not too long ago, I brought my wife out here, told her to be real quiet, got her out here, told her don't say anything, just listen. I whistled one tone. I can't specifically mimic the exact tone that I whistled, but I whistled one tone, and about maybe 4 or 5 seconds later, the same tone whistled back. I look at my wife. She has wide eyes open looking at me, and I put a finger up to her like, hold on, that's not it. I whistle a different tone out there, a longer, different tone, and the exact same tone, the same length, whistled the exact same thing back. Then she started kind of trying to freak out. So I told her, hold on with my finger one more time. Hold on. Let me give it 3 more tries, because I gave it 3 tries before I had a witness. So I told her, hold on, before I think I'm crazy, let's see. I did a whole different tone, way longer than the second one and the first one. About maybe way shorter than the other 2 tones, the replies. 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds. Came back, the exact same tone came whistling back to me. That's when we both ran inside.
Mm. I'll tell you what, I've experienced that in Oregon, and it is the craziest thing you'll ever experience outside of having
It
a
was
visual. It's
chilling.
weird.
Yes, it was chilling. It was cool though. Like I kind of felt like, hey, that's my experience of saying, hey, something is out here, and they are listening to me when I'm out here alone. Because I'm out here alone all the time, just sitting here being a man, pondering, thinking of my thoughts around a little fire or something, maybe drinking a little bit, But yeah, it was a crazy experience for sure, because I haven't tried it again by myself since since I've had a witness.
Exactly. What area was this in Texas again?
It's around Forsyth, Texas, but it's the area I'm living in is called Tubbs Addition. So it's kind of between Big Spring, Texas and Forsyth, Texas, and they're not long at all. They're basically the 2 little towns are basically one town. But where I'm at is where all the wilderness is at.
That's is that Howard County?
I, yes, sir. I've actually even personally seen a mountain lion out here, and people don't believe me until I caught it on my camera.
Wow.
I have a game camera out here. I haven't caught anything else on my game camera but that mountain lion. But yeah, there's not supposed to be mountain lions out here. But
But there they are. Well, Kyler,
there's not supposed to be other things out here either.
exactly. Yeah, they're all over Texas for sure. Well, Kyler, I appreciate you coming up
Exactly.
and sharing what you
Yes,
experienced.
sir.
All right, you
Yes,
have a
sir.
good
Yes,
night,
sir.
sir.
I appreciate y'all having this podcast, dude. I appreciate you. I've been following you for a while, so I mean, I thought I didn't see anybody coming on, so I thought this would be a perfect time for me to not get no disconnection. Because, like I said,
Yeah,
I'm
there
out
you
here in the
go.
wilderness, so I don't get good connection.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you again. Jay Blake, how are you?
Good. How you been?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for coming up. Do you mind if I potentially use the audio from this conversation in my Bigfoot podcast?
I don't mind. I don't mind.
All right. Well, I saw your comments earlier, I think. It sounds like you have some interesting things to share.
Yeah. So I live in the northern part of Alabama. So I'm 10 minutes from the National Bankhead Forest, and it's about 250,000 acres of, pretty much dense wilderness, in the south. Other than the Everglades, I think it's one of the most dense forests and most untouched forest in terms of caves, in terms of just trees that have been untouched for hundreds of years. Since the Civil War, it's mostly been untouched. It's been a protected forest. So I've had an encounter. I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but I've encountered things in the woods that's been faster than I can see. I hear something and then I look over, and it would disappear faster than I can see it. But I have a story from an old trapper that has been trapping in the Bankhead Forest since he's 75 now. He probably started trapping when he was in high school, so 16, 17. I respect him probably more than any hunter that I know, and a bunch of my buddies spend a lot of time in the woods, and he said he's come across creatures and sounds that he cannot explain. And we have hogs down here. We have bobcats, that sound weird if you don't know what they sound like. And it's just, there's a lot of, in North Alabama, Midwestern Alabama, there's a lot of woods that aren't explored. And just, people don't know how to traverse the terrain. And if something wanted to hide around here, it could hide, because we're at the foothills of, the Appalachian Mountains. There's a reason why people go missing across the largest mountain ranges on the United States. On the western side, you have, Yosemite National Park. People go missing in that park all the time. There's a lot of cave systems. It's along a fault line. The Appalachian Mountains, we're at the foothills. So there's a lot of caves. There's a natural bridge. In Natural Bridge, Alabama, you can look that up. North Alabama is the foothills of Appalachian Mountains, and the Appalachian Mountain Trails is the oldest mountain range in the world. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but the research that I've done, when all the continents were together, towards Scotland, Northern Ireland, it was connected to the Appalachian Mountain Range. And at one time, the Appalachian Mountain Range was the tallest mountain range in the world. There's old stuff that's in them mountains.
I've heard that as well. I've heard the same exact things. Definitely.
And there's stuff out in these forests that people don't know, that stuff can hide it if it wants it to. There's why as a human do we go out in the woods and we feel like we're inferior? We feel scared. We look around. We're like, oh crap, something could be hunting me. We may be labeled as the apex predator, but I don't think if we were the apex predator, we wouldn't feel that type of, when the sun goes down and you don't got a flashlight, you're walking out from your tree stand, you don't feel like that as the apex predator.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Are there any accounts that you've heard from down in that area of Bankhead National Forest?
Have you heard of the Alabama Waitt thing?
I have heard of it, but I'd be curious to hear what you have heard as well.
So, it's pretty much, it's folklore. I haven't seen it with my own two eyes, the Alabama Waitt thing, but I've heard a couple of accounts of people saying they would be deep in the forest. It's all, you know, little pea gravel roads all throughout that forest. And it's just acres and acres of bluffs and caves and creeks and waterfalls in the Bankhead National Forest. So it's like it's hard to traverse. Even there was 6 months ago, there was a guy that was 55, 60 years old. He'd been hunting in the Bankhead Forest from, you know, high school, middle school. His dad taught him to go hunting there. He fell off a bluff randomly and died. So all the buddies that you know hunt in the forest, and like the people that it's a community, you know, you just got to tell each other, like, look, you go into that forest, it could be your last day, even if you've spent 20 plus years in that forest. You know, it's just Indians thrived in this area in North Alabama, a bunch of Creek Indians. But it's not a lot documented in that forest, and it's understaffed park ranger wise. It ain't a park, but it's understaffed to explore it because nobody has the balls to go in there and completely map it.
Right. Exactly. Good stuff. Well, Jay Blake, I appreciate you coming up and for sharing some thoughts about the Bankhead National Forest.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Greg, how are you? Hello,
Hey man,
Greg.
how's it going?
Hey, good. Do you mind if I potentially use the audio from our conversation for my Bigfoot podcast?
No, sir. That sounds good to me.
All right. Well, what brings you up, sir?
Well, it sounds like I live about maybe an hour south of where my man was just talking. I live kind of in central Alabama, near the Oakmulgee National Forest, and I had something happen. I don't know. I'm gonna see. I just kind of see what y'all think. I've got to listen to you a few times and just listen to some of the people talk. And I went riding. I grew up in the National Forest, and I knew the back roads out there real good and everything. But there was this little small roads that come off the little dirt roads. You got little small roads that come off, and so I was going down this little road about 3 years ago. Maybe I'm trying to think. It was either February 22 or February 23, and I decided I'm gonna ride back in here and just see what's back here. And it's pretty nice. They burn the forest about once a year, or if not once a year, every 2 years. So it's real clean and everything. It's always made me think that nothing really is going to live back here, because they burn it every year. They're not going to have, I saw nests and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But anyhow, I just ride back there, and I was just going to see what I could see. And it's about 2:30 one afternoon. And I'm not exactly sure where I'm going. And I get to the top of this little hill, and I can see about 300-400 yards, and I'm right on the edge of some private property. I'm still in the National Forest, but I know where I'm looking at my my GPS and everything, looking where I'm at. So I'm just standing there, man. It's a beautiful day, sun shining. I look over to this little hill on the other side, and I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and I got some buddies of mine. We just kind of joke around about the Bigfoot thing, a little bit, I'm always curious about this thing, but I have never seen anything. So, if I don't see it, I'm like, man, I don't know. Well, I see something. It's jet black, and I can see it's on the side of the hill, sun shining on it. I'm gonna say it's shoulders. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I was looking at, but I said to myself, if this is not a Bigfoot, it's missing a great opportunity to be one. You can see the shoulder, like wide shoulders, and the head, it's like it's facing the other way. And I can see like the top of the head, like the head was shrunk down into the shoulder, just like what they say a Bigfoot looks like and everything. And the shoulders were kind of squared off though, and then it dropped down, and I didn't see any legs. But I'm looking at And like I said, I can see all of it. It's not behind anything. I can see it plain as day. And I stand there and look at this thing for probably about 30 seconds. And one of the reasons I got out of the truck, because I was just going to have to go down this hill that I couldn't go down. You know, I mean, I wasn't sure if I could go down because it's been washed out real bad. I take about 1 minute to walk up there to see that I cannot go down this next hill because, I mean, it was washed out so bad. So I come back and I said, I'm going to take a video or a picture of this thing. Because I'm in my mind, like I said, they burn, and I've seen all these burnt stumps all my life. You know, living in the woods, you burning the forest, you're gonna see burnt stumps, black. I get back over there and I stand in the exact same place I was in, and I don't see this thing no more. And I even got a video. I even videoed the hill, videoed the side of the hill again, and I don't know what happened. In my mind, I said, well, maybe I was looking at a shadow. But this thing was jet black. And the only thing I could figure out, I mean, I thought about this for the next year or so. If it was anything on the side of that hill, it had to be squatted down because it didn't have any legs. And I even looked up some pictures of some gorillas facing the opposite way, squatted down. And I said, well, dang, that looks kind of like that. But what really stood out to me was these wide, I'm talking about, they were perfect on each side, like wide shoulders. I'm talking about, it would have been two of me at least standing side by side, with like the head in the middle,
Right.
But the reason I went over there because I'd heard stories from years back that somebody was squirrel hunting, and they'd come over the top of a hill and saw something in a brush top. They heard something, they looked down there and there was something that was in a brush top. It said it jumped up and it ran off. And that was like 2008, 2009, I think, when that happened. And that was one of the reasons I had even went back in that area. But anyhow, like I said, I don't know. It was just really weird that I saw this, walked up here, came back. And I know I wouldn't go no more in a minute because I just went over and looked over, and that was it. So anyhow, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's ever seen anything like that or like something squatted down like that or whatever. But I just wish to the good Lord I took a picture before I walked off.
Oh, yeah. Greg, that's incredible. So you said that was did you say Mulgee National Forest?
Oakmulgee. It's Tuscaloosa, around the Tuscaloosa, Hale County area.
Okay, gotcha. There's a forest down there, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oakmulgee Wildlife Management Area.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Around that time, what was were there any weird smells or weird sounds in the forest when you had that encounter?
No, but let me tell you this. I left this part out, and I actually got this on video.
Okay.
So I get back, and I'm standing there. I'm trying to video. Like I said, this is probably about 300 to 400 yards away from me. I'm guessing now. So because that hill from where I was standing to the next hill, I would say I'd say about 300 yards. But so I'm standing right beside my truck now. I mean, like I said, I drove up on this hill. I'm standing right beside my truck, and I'm videoing. And I swear, like I said, I've got the sound and everything on the video. It's like someone threw a rock at me from behind. And I said, holy crap. And you hear it on the video. And I turn, and I start walking back up behind my truck. And the only thing, I didn't see no rock. I don't know what it was, but there was a pine tree there with some big pine cones. And in my mind, I said, well, that had to be when them pine cones fell out of that tree. Because the way I think, I said, like my brother, I always tell my brother, we go walking in the woods at night and stuff. And I said, everything ain't a Bigfoot. We'd hear something. I said, everything's not a Bigfoot. It don't matter. You hear a howl or some kind of tree fall or anything. I said, everything's not a Bigfoot. So I said, that had to be a daggone pine cone. It fell out of that tree. But I don't know that.
So you're saying, 300 yards is about the length of 3 football fields. Is that correct?
Like I said, it could have been 300 to 400. I always said 300 to 400. I don't know. I hate that. It dipped down. What it was, like I said, I was on the hill and it dips down. Now you can't even see across there now because the pine, they had cut all that and everything. And then now the pines is growing back up. But it could have been 400 yards. It's hard for me to gauge, really.
Gotcha. Well, man, that's it. That's an area that I haven't talked to anyone from, that WMA. So thank you so much for coming up and for chatting about that. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
What's up, brother? Lemmy, how are you?
Good, you?
Good. Thank you for the gifts, man. And hey, do you mind if I potentially use this conversation for my Bigfoot podcast?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dude, so I saw in the comments you've captured some interesting things.
Yeah, well, so I just got my new trail cam, for my birthday, and I'm up in BC,
Okay. Yep.
and I just put it out there. I don't know, got a elk, got some deer, and then I kind of like a blue orb. I don't know if it has anything to do with what I seen, but and then all of a sudden I seen it looked like a monkey kind of, and it peeked out from the big fir tree that was there and was just looking straight into my trail cam. And then the next picture was it slowly fading away, and then it just was gone, and I didn't get anything of that again. And just it was almost faded away into the pixels of my trail cam.
Oh my goodness. So it looked like an actual monkey on the trail cam after you saw a blue orb.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. How big was the orb?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking it was reflection of the snow, but it was weird, and it was just kind of sparkly, and then literally a minute later it was there.
Okay. How big was the thing that looked like a monkey?
Oh, so my dad, he's he's big into it. He was gonna go on some podcasts, and then he listens to your podcast in the truck.
Oh, heck
And
yeah.
yeah, and so it just kind of he went and checked it again, and he stood up next to the tree, and whatever it was, its head had to have been around 10 feet tall.
Oh, wow. And this is up in British Columbia.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, British Columbia is such a big place. Are we talking on the island or way up there in the north?
The
or
Kootenays.
Kootenays? All right, gotcha.
Yes.
Yep,
So
heard of
yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Dang, so that, yeah.
it's really weird. And then I never got one ever again.
Do you still have this footage?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my goodness. Is that anything where you might be able to share it by email?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my email is bigfootsociety@gmail.com.
Okay. Yeah. I can send it to you.
That would be great. Why was your dad going to go on a few podcasts?
I don't know. He got invited to go on some, but then I don't know. He wasn't going to go on it because he only had pictures, no real encounters.
I got you. So he's deep in the subject. He's got some interesting pictures, and he goes out there, tries to research and stuff in BC.
Yeah. He's tried to
Okay.
find him a couple of times. And then first off, I thought he was a little nuts, but then those pictures are really, they're really weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
in my opinion, it's either nothing or it's Bigfoot.
absolutely. Have you ever been out with him and weird stuff has happened?
No, the only one time that I could say maybe kind of an encounter, I went to go fish up the river for some bull trout, and I was just kind of sitting there, and just rocks started coming in behind me and going into the river, but that could have been it falling off the cliff or something. But it was really weird, and I just kind of, and it kept on coming. It wasn't hitting me or anything, but they were pretty big rocks, and it was it would take something pretty big to throw it that far, and I couldn't be able to see it.
How big are we talking?
I don't know, I want to say a little bit bigger than a baseball.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
man. Wow. Are they coming straight down the hill or were they coming out
Yeah,
towards
so
you?
if the ridge was facing me and the woods were behind me, and I was just kind of wading in the water, and they came behind me into the kind of cliff area. It was really weird. And that was after I seen those photos, so I was thinking to myself that might be Bigfoot, but I wouldn't call that a legitimate encounter. But those pictures were definitely weird.
It's enough to make you think though, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah, it is. It is. Hey, I appreciate you coming up. I'll be watching my email for that and
Yeah,
say hi to your dad. And tell him thanks for listening. I appreciate that.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Hey, Satch, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for coming up. Do you mind if I potentially use this audio in my Bigfoot podcast I have?
No, please do.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, what would you like to share today?
Well, I've been a researcher now since probably since 2014, not probably, but since 2014. And I've had many experiences and have taken a lot of really strange photos and experienced some incredible things out in the field, orbs, UFOs. I've seen several Bigfoot, and I guess I've experienced what they call a mind speak,
Okay. Sure.
And one time when I was had just started to get into it, a lot of things were bouncing around out there in the Bigfoot world about this one particular hoaxer. And I happened to be thinking, I wonder if Bigfoot is, oriented with Satan or something like that. And all of a sudden, I felt this nudge to the front of my head with a resounding no to it, and which was really strange. That was believe it or not, my very first Bigfoot experience. And that happened after believe it or not, after going down to the coast by Land of the Giants, the Redwood Forest, and I stopped at this rock shop and happened to take this picture and of this weird looking feature on this slab of wood, but it looks just like a Sasquatch. And is it, I don't know, I've always asked you this today, was it linked to that or something? I have no idea, but after that, I started experiencing some really unusual things and having some very unusual encounters with the Sasquatch. And I mean, to the point where, as strange as they look, I do have pictures that you can actually get your head around and say, okay, yeah, that's probably a Bigfoot, Once I realized that I was experiencing this, I decided to sorry, I'm nervous. I've never done
No,
this
you're good. You're
before,
doing great.
so.
You're doing great. Maybe I could ask you a question to help you along as well. So your research is based out of California then?
No, I live in Washington State right now.
Okay.
My research was in at the time I guess that I would just happen to be on vacation with some friends and went down to Willow Creek and went to the museum and stuff. We hung out there and then went over the coast, and that's where that happened. But I lived in the Eugene, Oregon area at
Oh,
the
all right.
time,
Yeah.
and went back home, and that's when I started going out in the field, and now I've had so many experiences. It's crazy.
Okay. So you started researching around Eugene then?
Yeah, up in the
Okay. Yeah.
Willamette National Forest.
Oh, we can talk about this, buddy. So, that's my favorite area. Yeah, I've spent a few weeks over the last few years out in Oak Ridge.
Oh
That
yeah,
area is very, very heavy with Bigfoot activity.
this is
Did
not
you?
far from there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, I fly into Eugene. So did you have any Bigfoot encounters or experiences in the Willamette National Forest then?
Just about everything I'm telling you about is,
Was
yeah,
it the Willamette? Yeah. Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
right
Was that
above
around?
Fall Creek,
Yeah.
right
Oh,
above, yeah,
up north of Fall Creek.
that
Oh,
close to Oak
wow.
Ridge.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. When you were up there, would you ever see any Bigfoot that were light in color or tan or strawberry blonde?
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Can you
I
tell me
have
about that?
pictures. I do. Um, gosh. Yeah, this one day I was probably about I'm going to say about the fourth time I had made my way up into this area where this huge clearing was at. And it's where I had taken the first photos of a Sasquatch just days prior to this. And it was a darker colored one, but this time it was a lighter colored, and I'm not kidding. It's like every bit of probably 15 or maybe even 20 feet. And I have pictures of it, And when compared to me, anyways, when I go over there, you can't even see me
Right.
from where it's at. And so I'm like, that sounds crazy to be that tall.
Have you ever gone out in the woods around Oak Ridge at all?
Um, man, just close to it, just pretty much just Lowell,
Yep.
above that area. I did, from the Fall Creek area, there was this road that was really high up, and it would take you over to Oak Ridge.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. On the other side of the reservoir.
Yep.
Yeah, Lookout Point Lake, that one. Yep.
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so on that road, and it goes by Ivan Oaks Campground, is that right?
It's been a while now, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe so.
Did you ever have anything happen on that road or those campgrounds?
Up on that road, there was this massive limb that had been twisted,
Okay.
and laying just still kind of attached to the tree, but it was laying in the middle of the road, and it would have to be removed from the tree the rest of the way, but it was twisted and probably a good 5 or 6 inches thick,
Absolutely. Oh man.
Just massive, massive. And then there's this just down a little ways from that was this inverted tree where the roots had even been broke off it, but it was in the ground upside down, and probably 20 to 25 feet of it was at its highest point, where it was pushed, and it was probably pushed into the ground 8 to 10 feet, I'm guesstimating.
What year was that?
This was last time I saw it was 2019.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that is absolutely incredible, Satch. What do you think the closest that you've been to a Sasquatch has been?
About 6 to 8 feet away.
Can you share that account?
Well, this is up near that same area with the twisted branch, and one night, my friend and he came up to experience them with me, and because it was a very active area, very active, and they, like me, they have a tendency to be active around people that they kind of trust. And as this one night we are sitting around the fire, I decided to go relieve myself and go up around this bush. And I happened to look right across the road, which is a very narrow road.
Mm-hmm.
And right there, I see this very, very dark silhouette, darker than the night sky itself. And I could not make out any facial features, nothing like that. But it was an obvious Sasquatch. It turned and moved away from me up the road, probably about 10, 15 feet, went across the road and turned around and stood there and watched me. And I'm like, Mike, you got to see this. And he's like, dude, I'm looking at one right now. I'm like, you got to be kidding. He was, and that's just how active this place was. And as I became familiar with it, I became to understand that this was probably an area where there was a mating going on. I found things that led me to ponder that, just the this one area you'd walk down into, and it was just very, very thick with vegetation all the way around it. It'd be almost virtually impenetrable except for one way into it. And I kind of got the impression that was, maybe where they went in to do some mating or something. I don't know, man, but it was definitely peculiar.
I have so many questions for you about this area. Have you ever heard anything about encounters around the Little Fall Creek area?
Yeah.
You have?
That's pretty much, have you heard of Windberry?
Well, I was going to ask you that next. The Windberry Wild Man, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm talking. This is right in the heart of pretty much Windberry and all that,
Oh, wow. Okay, gotcha, dude.
Yeah, and Wow, it's good to connect with you, man. Yeah.
It's good to
Wow.
speak the same language, right? You know?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I've been yeah, when I first connected up on top of Willamette Pass, up on top of uh what is it, Crescent Lake or
Odell.
not Odell, the
Okay.
one above it. Um, Gosh, it's either I think it's Crescent, but that may be. It's been a while now.
Hey, how about this?
Yeah,
Have you ever tried to talk to the rangers in that area about Bigfoot stuff?
yeah, I have.
How did that go?
Um, they. There was one that was he. He believed what I was saying, and then there's but the others, they kind of got weird with me.
Yep. Yep. No, I get
But
it. I get it.
but there's a lot of tweakers down in there now, and stuff that have just a lot of homeless and stuff
Sure.
like that have just uh, taken over the bottoms of those canyons and stuff.
Okay. I gotcha. Um, have you ever heard anything weird about the Spirit Lake area over by Waldo Wilderness?
I have not, but it would not surprise me. That's
Okay.
a beautiful area.
Hey, check this out though. I just interviewed a retired postal worker from that area you're talking about the other day,
Yeah.
and she had a crazy encounter back in 2014. And the story goes that the next day she went to get the mail from the post office, and a ranger was there. And she told the ranger what happened, and she's like, and the ranger was like, "We got 13 calls last night from that same area about people seeing Bigfoot."
Right on.
And that's in 2014 in the Little Fall Creek area, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, that blows your mind, right? That's crazy.
How about that? Yeah, it is so active there. It just I mean, well, I have missed so much on camp with. I have missed more than I have
Uh-huh.
and I have a lot of stuff. I have more than your average person, man. And uh, I I just happened to do something, and I connected with them in a weird way, man. And that's all, that sounds really crazy, but that's the only explanation I have for my photographs and all the stuff that happens around me. It's just
Absolutely.
I take people with me and they say I have never ever I've gone squatching, I've had things happen, but never on the magnitude I have been since I've been with you, man.
Hey,
And
Satch, have you been to the new Bigfoot Museum in Oak Ridge yet? Area 58?
no, I haven't.
You should check it out. Do you know where the DQ is?
I do know where that's at, man. I
It's
don't
right
live
next
there
to it.
anymore though.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, if you're ever in the area, check it out, man.
That's awesome, man. I didn't realize they had one there. That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, they get a lot of reports there. I mean, the area is just wild, as you know. But
Oh, it
do
is.
you remember hearing any other stories from that area?
Man, I'll tell you what, I've seen giants there. I mean,
Right.
I am
You gotta tell
talking.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like one morning, I woke up. I put this on my skin. I put this on everything. I love my everything. Uh, I, I woke up one morning, man, and went to go start the coffee. And I look up as I'm getting the water out of the back of the truck. I look up and I see this dark figure step from one tree to another tree. It had to be like 10 feet from that one tree to the other tree. And what I saw was like 20 feet tall. And I'm like, whoa, that was a trip, man. And it was still dark in the canopy was still dark in the morning. You know what I mean? From it not being, it was still morning time, so it was still kind of
Right.
dark underneath. And I look over. I get really excited when I start talking about this stuff, so it's hard to. I look behind, probably 20 feet, and all of a sudden I see something. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm looking at here, and I'm thinking, oh, it must be a truck, and just as I think that, it goes up, it steps up off the ground and takes a step forward, and then the other foot takes a step forward. Boom, boom, and it takes 2 steps and disappears. And this is black and gray, furry feet, the size of a sedan. I kid you not. The size of a sedan. And it freaking disappeared, man, into nothingness, man. I have pictures of it. I have pictures of it, my friend. And it'll blow your mind. You'd be like, what in the... And, yeah, I'll be happy to show you some of this stuff and explain it the best I can and stuff. But, yeah, I get really worked up even talking about it. It makes me shake still. It was... The encounters have been so intense. And I'll take a lie detector to everything, man. I'm not kidding you one little bit, man.
Wow, that's so intense. Thank you for sharing that. I've never heard a story like that before. It's wild.
No, I've had these like UFOs stop right above me and like acknowledge that I'm looking at them. They'll flash light at me like 3 times or something and move on,
Wow.
And it's like, what was that? There's a light around me constantly that is like a white orb. And I'll tell you, something happened after I took that picture of that. I know that sounds nuts, man, but I connected with something and
Yep, it's
when I
not
did
weird at all.
I connected with something when that happened, and it changed my life.
I'll tell you this much, Satch. There's people that will email me saying that they've seen fairies and gnomes and dwarves in that area, but they won't go on record about it.
Yeah, it's I've seen them. I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
them. I have seen them. I have taken pictures of gnomes and all kinds of. I think even the Green Man, I've taken a picture of. Believe
What's
it or
the
not.
Green Man?
He is fabled in the UK mostly, and
Okay.
But he brings life to the new spring time, and you look him up if you get the chance.
I will. I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
Satch,
sorry.
would it be, I don't know do you have any of these photos? Would you be able to share any of those through email, or I'd love to
Yeah,
take a look at them. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Um,
even welcome. I mean, you can see them
okay.
on my profile, even on
Oh,
here.
okay. I'll check it out. Yeah, I'll check
Yeah,
out your profile then. Yeah.
yeah, and
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I'm
Wow.
still, I have some pretty trippy photos, man, and um, all of it is very real, and it's been an incredible experience.
That's
And
awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you came up and you're able to share some stuff. And I'm following you, so we'll have to keep in touch because it sounds like you know a lot of stuff about that area, dude.
yeah, I've learned a lot about the Sasquatch also, and and a lot about cryptid life form. I once I started doing this, I started recognizing what's going on. I started doing it, and for the reasons that I felt that they wanted me to, which was conservation of Mother Earth
Mm.
and coexistence with one another. And when I started putting those words in to my vocabulary with my experiences and stuff, it took off tenfold. And it's like these beings wait, they can't wait for me to go out to interact with them, and it's just been an amazing experience. And
Wow.
yeah, I can't wait to share with you more as I've moved to Washington, and going to be starting to research the Moscow Mountain, Idaho area.
Oh, yep, yep.
And I guess there were vocalizations and stuff that they got on finding Bigfoot back in the day. So it should be
Very cool.
it should be an interesting place to research. But I
Absolutely,
appreciate you
Satch.
visiting with me.
Yeah, yeah. It's good talking to you. We'll have to keep in touch, and pleasure chatting with you today, man. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Oh man, Satch knows what he's talking about, dude. That was such a great conversation. I really enjoyed that. Let's see, we got Mike here. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good evening. How you doing, brother?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for coming up. Do you mind if I potentially use this audio for a Bigfoot podcast I have?
No, I don't care, man.
Cool, cool. Well, what would you like to share today, man?
Well, I had my first encounter. It was in August of 2011, late July, early August of 2011. Um, I had three other people with me, or I'm sorry, two other people with me, and man, well, it's a long encounter, so I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. But if you remember in 2011, like there was just this heat wave that swept the country. Like it was
Yep.
just everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really big into fishing, and it killed my fishing, and we finally got one night where it was going to be under 90 degrees and, conditions were just right, and the rivers were up. So anybody that's into fishing understands that when the water's moving real hard, those big catfish are moving too. And so we were in what we call a backwash or a slough right off of the river. And it started out real gradual. It was like there was something that was pacing us, and you could hear it breathing. And the only way I can describe it is if you can think of somebody that has like a real bad bronchial cold is what it sounded like. And there wasn't a smell at first. But I would say, because we were going up the river, or up the slough, I should say, and then back down it towards the mouth of the river, and we turn around and go back up. And I'd say about maybe our fifth or sixth pass, we got this, I don't even know how to describe it. It was if you were to take a wet dog with rotten eggs, and that wet dog had rolled around in like a septic system, you'd kind of get the idea, and add in maybe some rotting meat. You might get kind of the idea.
Right.
And so at first we were kind of like, oh man, it's got to be a bear, and then we started getting little pebbles thrown at us, and and we went ahead. We were out there for probably about an hour and a half, and then it started getting belligerent with bigger rocks. And when I say bigger rocks, I'm talking about this rock had to be 50, 75 pounds, and it came sailing into the middle of the slough we were in. And there is no way. I mean, God rest his soul, I don't think Hulk Hogan could have got that distance with that rock. And so as we're talking about, maybe we need to go ahead and get out of there. Now, this is really important. This is really important, and I should have said this at the beginning. When I fish, I do not allow anybody that drinks, or if they're into the broccoli, what you do is what you do. But if you're on my boat, you're not doing it. We're on a river. It's late at night, and we're already in a dangerous situation as it is, if you think about it. So that's why none of that stuff is on there. And I wanted to be important to clarify that everybody was sober on this boat. And we were talking about maybe it's time we get out of here, because we were starting to get huffs and we were getting things thrown at us. And I would say we were probably about maybe 8 feet away from this tree that was kind of laying. It wasn't in the water, but it was like, it was leaning over, and it just fell, like on its own, fell, roots and all. And the guy that was in the back of the boat swore that he seen something, but he didn't know what it was. And I'm like, well, what it looked like, try to describe it. He goes, I can't. He goes, I can't give you the description of something that I don't know what it was. Fair enough. But we decided that it'd be best to go ahead and get out of there. So we started paddling, trying to get to where we put in. And the guy in the front of the boat said, hey, you guys get out. I'll drag the boat up the hill and, make sure we're all clear. And the guy that was in the back of the boat, he's about 6'4", 6'5", and we're on a levee, kind of looking into a cornfield. And on one side of the cornfield, you have the slough, and on the other side of the cornfield, you have the river. And so if you were just to kind of like picture like a wedge of how it would come together, you'd have it. And so I didn't see it at first. He seen it, and he said, man, he goes, what was that? And I'm watching, and when it got kind of right underneath, I guess I don't want to say right underneath the moon, but it was just enough light that you could make out some features. And what we were able to see that we noticed right away was the size of the hands. If you were to make a catcher's mitt for Andre the Giant, if anybody's familiar with him, it would still be too small for his hands. I mean, these hands were just massive.
Mm-hmm.
And it had hair that covered its face. I could not give you a facial description at all. I can't give you what I don't have. But it was hairy, and it was moving fast. We really thought it was moving fast. And then I noticed that it wasn't that it was moving fast. It was just walking at a steady pace, and it was taking extremely large steps. And as it got closer, we noticed that my buddy was almost eye level with this thing. So we're on a 6-foot embankment, and he's 6'4". So that would put whatever this was potentially at almost 12.5 feet. And I'm not making up the size, about 12 and a half feet. And, you know, he's like, let's go. And the guy that was, you know, loading the boat up, you know, he kind of looked from the bit of my truck, and he was like, and he didn't even tie it down. He got in there, held the boat with one hand, and just braced himself. And we got in, and I mean, we flew out of there, and about 7-ish miles down the road is a gas station, and we pulled in there, and we were just trying to figure out what it was. Well, the big guy, he went in and he got him a bottle of Jim Beam, and we all sat out there, and we're taking swigs out of this thing, trying to figure out what's going on. And you know, to anybody in the audience that has not had an encounter, if you don't believe in Bigfoot and you have an encounter with Bigfoot, it is a complete shock to your system. You don't know how to explain what you've seen. You're not sure exactly what you've seen, but you know you can't explain it. And if I would have been by myself, I would have thought I was nuts. And there was a deputy that had pulled in that was another friend of mine's brother. And, you know, and he's like, he's getting out of the car to go in, and he goes, y'all look like you seen a ghost. We didn't say nothing. And he came back out and started talking, and it came over his radio that he had a call out to that road that we were just at. And something had got into a chicken coop. And, you know, we stayed at this gas station for a good hour. And he came back within about 30 minutes. And he goes, I know you guys seen something out there. He goes, what did you see back there? And I looked at him and I said, what'd you see? And he said, I don't know what I seen. And he proceeded to tell us about a farmer that had his chickens in a pen, and this thing had pushed the chicken wire in and then pulled it out and threw it. And gathered up a bunch of chickens and took off, basically. And the guy said that it was a really large person. So these two that I was with to this day won't talk about it, and it kind of put me on I got to know what it was. And I kind of figured out after watching some programs and kind of getting into some things online, looking at some things online, I figured out that it was definitely a Bigfoot. And then come to find out that the locals in that area knew that there was a clan of them out there, at least 3 or 4 of them. And they don't usually bother them unless the rivers are up, unless it's a really harsh winter or anything. Then they'll come in and, you know, they'll take what they can get. But it kind of put me on I don't want to say a mission, but kind of to kind of find out what these things are. And I'll be really honest with you, I still don't have a clue. But I will tell you that this encounter, it happened in Missouri, about 30 miles south of St. Louis. That was my first one.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all over Missouri. I mean, they are literally all, especially if you get into the Ozarks, you have more than just Bigfoot. You've got what they call knot deer. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before.
Yep.
There's knot deer all throughout the Ozarks. There's skinwalkers, dogmen, feral people, all kinds of things there. And, you know, so if you want the extended version of this sometime, let me know. I'll be happy to give it to you. And, you know, I'm sure there's probably somebody else that wants to come up. But, you know, I've spent a lot of time taking encounters from other people too. So, you know, I got a ton of encounter stories, not just from me, but from others. And, you know, I do have some pictures as well that I don't normally put out there, but I've been keeping track of you for a while, man, and you kind of seem on the level.
Thank you, Mike. Man, yeah, well, I'm definitely going to reach out because, I mean, just what you shared is an incredible story by itself, and I'm not surprised that we're talking about Southern Missouri, to be honest.
Uh, um, yeah, I guess DM me or something with your email, and I can reach out
Yeah.
to you and maybe get you a few pics that way and stuff. But if you got time, I know we're on a Bigfoot subject here, but I do got a dog man encounter. I mean, it's not mine; it's one I took. If y'all want to hear.
And real quick, so my email is just bigfootsociety@gmail.com. But yeah, if you want to share that, go right ahead.
Okay. In the town we lived in, I kind of got known as like the paranormal guy. If you had something weird happen to you,
Nice. Yep.
people bring it to me. And one morning I was at the gas station. I was getting my coffee, and the mayor of this town came in, and she said, "Do you have like a couple of minutes that I could talk to you?" And I'm thinking she's getting on me about my grass or something, And I'm like, yeah, and let's sit down. And she goes, "No, let's go outside." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And she said, "I seen something last night. I don't know what it was, and I'm hoping you can help." And I said, "Okay, well, what happened?" And off the air, I'll give you the name of this road so you can like pull up a map and look at it just to see how desolate this road is. So she was coming back on this particular road, and as she came around the corner, she seen what she thought was a puppy that it looked like it was limping, and so she thought it was hurt. She said it was about the size of a 6-month-old golden retriever, which is, if you know dogs, that's a decent sized dog. And so she opened the door and she got out of the car, and she's kind of like throwing some food at it, trying to get its attention. And it starts taking the food, and she's whistling for it and calling it in. And she said, but then it did something that I don't even know how to explain. And I said, well, what'd it do? And she said, it stood up. And I said, so are you talking like a dog begging for more food? She goes, no, like it stood up and started walking. And she said, as it was standing up, it was like somebody popping, like how when you pop your knuckles or you pop a joint or something. She said that she heard that. It was just like pop, 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 And as she got a good look at it, she said that it had the head of a coyote. And she said that it was grayish black. And she said, do you know what that was? And I said, well, if I tell you what that was, you may not believe it. And she goes, please, I really need to know. And I said, well, that's Dogman. And she said, a Dogman? And I said, think of it like a werewolf that don't change back. And she goes, are you serious? And I said, yeah. I said, they've been around for centuries. They go, all the way back to Egyptian folklore, Anubis, and all that. And she was absolutely floored about it. And since that happened to her, the last that I knew, which was a couple of years ago, she does not leave town at night. Like if the sun is setting, she stays home. But anyway, though, I got a few more other than that. I'll reach out to you here in a little bit, and we'll go from there if you're good with it.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I appreciate you sharing the short version, and we'll have to chat at a later time. I'll look for your email, man. So thank you.
All right, brother. You have a good night, man.
You too.
All right.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bigfoot Society podcast. If you'd like to take part in these lives, you can follow the Bigfoot Society podcast on TikTok under bigfoot.society. And we usually go live, if we're going to go live, about 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So hope to see you there. It's a good time. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. Some of the accounts cannot be put on here. So you might even hear stuff that you won't hear anywhere else. Make sure you're following the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And please take a minute to share this episode or an episode that's your favorite with a friend, and give us a 5-star positive review and rating, as it really helps the show grow. If you haven't taken a look yet, head over to www.bigfootsocietypodcast.com. We have a brand new membership community. It's where you can get benefits such as a exclusive episode just for members every week, ad-free and early release episodes, ways for the community to hang out. We watch a movie together every month. We hang out in a Zoom call and talk about. So there's a lot of stuff I talk about that I don't put out on the show. It's kind of like a inner circle type thing. So if that's something you're interested in, check it out. Again, it's BigfootSocietyPodcast.com and click on the members login. We'll see you there. Thanks for listening, and see you in the woods.